Dear students, this is the e-learning platform of Cambridge International School, Dasua. I am Kamaljeet Sharma, PGT Accountancy, teaching accountancy to the students for grade 11th and 12th in Cambridge International School. And this session is for the subject of accountancy for grade 11th commerce. Let's recap. Students, as you know, we have started chapter number 8, Journal, from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping by T.S. Garewal. In this chapter, you have learned about the formation of journal entries. Today, we will learn about few more journal entries. I hope this session would help you to understand this chapter very clear. Today, we will continue your chapter number 8, that is journal. Before starting the journal entries, let us revise the rules to form a journal entry. All the traditional rules and modern rules which we have studied in the chapter number 6. These rules are very much important while formation of journal entries of a business. Students, the accounts are classified on two bases, that is traditional approach and modern approach. We have learned about the traditional approach. Traditional approach is also called English approach, whereas modern approach is also called American approach. In traditional approach, there are broadly two types of account, personal account and impersonal account. Personal accounts are further classified into natural personal accounts, artificial personal accounts, and representative personal accounts. Whereas impersonal accounts are further classified into real accounts and nominal accounts. Personal account, as the name appears, related with person. So natural person's account, for example, Ram account, Sham account, Sita, Geeta, Ina, Meena, these all are natural personal accounts. Artificial personal accounts are those which are non living beings, not living beings, but we have some names for the establishments. For example, ICICI Bank, Cambridge International School, say Gupta Cloth Emporium, say Pizza Hut, Domino's, all these establishments which carry a name but non-living beings. That's why they are called artificial personal accounts. Representative personal accounts are those which represents a group or an item. For example, outstanding expenses like salaries outstanding, prepaid expenses like prepaid insurance, accrued incomes like accrued commission or accrued interest, unearned incomes like advance commission. Whereas impersonal accounts which do not have any relation with any person, these are classified into real account. Real means actually. So all assets lies under the category of real account. Nominal accounts, as the name appears, nominal, which means it is nothing. But for our convenience, we have given them some names. For example, all the expenses, losses, incomes and gains lies under the category of nominal account. So for the purpose of balancing the accounts or preparation of accounts or for journal entries, all these we have used these traditional approach accounts in the form of personal, real or nominal account. Whereas in the modern approach, we'll be using types of accounts in the name of assets account, liability account, capital account, revenue account or expenses account. We have categorized into these 5 accounts. Let us revise the traditional approach. The rule for personal account is debit the receiver and credit the giver. The rule for real account is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. And the rule for nominal account is debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Now we will start the modern approach. We have identified or categorized the total accounts in 5 categories: assets, liabilities, capital, revenue and expenses. First of all, we have to identify the accounts involved in the transaction, whether it is asset or a liability or a capital or a revenue or expense. Let us discuss assets. Assets. If there is any increase in the asset of the organization given in that transaction, the increase in asset will be debited, whereas decrease in the assets will be credited. Now comes the liability. If the value of liabilities increases, it will be credited, and if the value of liabilities decreases, it will be debited. Now comes the capital. If the capital of the proprietor increases in the business, if the balance of the capital increases in the business, it must be credited, and if the capital decreases, it must be debited. Now comes the revenue. Now what is revenue? Revenue is the amount received from the sale of goods and services. So if there is any increase in revenue, it should be credited, or if there is decrease in the revenue, it should be debited. Now comes the expenses. Expenses are the amount spent to generate the revenue. So if there is any increase in the expenses of the organization, these expenses are debited. And if there is any decrease in the expenses, it should be credited. Students, now we will learn the formation of journal entries. There are 3 simple steps to be followed for recording a journal entry. The step 1 is simply identify the accounts involved in the transaction. Then the second step is judge the nature of accounts involved, whether it is a personal, a real or a nominal account. The step 3, that is analyze the effect, then apply the rule and form a journal entry. Let us take an example. For example, cash received from Ram rupees 9,000. In this transaction, there are 2 accounts involved. One is cash, another is Ram. Cash, being an asset, comes under the category of real account. Ram is a natural person, comes under the category of personal account. Now in the first step, we have identified the accounts involved, that is cash and Ram are the 2 accounts involved in the transaction. After that, in the second step, we judge the nature of these accounts involved. The cash is an asset, so it comes under the category of real account, whereas Ram is a natural person, comes under the category of personal account. Now we'll move to step number 3. In the step number 3, we have to analyze the effect. So it is very much clear from the transaction that cash is coming into the business. So cash comes into the business, whereas Ram is the giver, means Ram gives the money to the business. So after analyzing the effect, we have to apply the rule. So as per traditional approach, the rule for a real account is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. Here cash comes into the business, so cash must be debited. And as per the personal account rule, it is debit the receiver and credit the giver. So here Ram is giver to the business, so Ram must be credited. So we will check the first step and the last step, that is third step. So here cash is debited, Ram is credited. So follow these simple steps to form a journal entry. Now we will discuss about accrued incomes. Accrued income or income earned but not due, that is income earned but not received. Students, the income which has been earned but has not been received or has not become due is called accrued income. For example, interest on investments has been earned, say interest up to 31st March 2019, but is due for payment on 30th June 2019. So for accrued income, the following entry to be passed, that is accrued income account debit to incomes account. Accrued income is an asset for the firm. So any increase in asset will always be debited. The next comes the income received in advance, or you can say it unearned income, that is income received but not earned. Income received but not earned, that is against which sale of goods or the services is yet to be made, is called income received in advance. For example, if building has given on rent for rupees 2,40,000 per annum, but during the year rupees 3 lakh was received, the 60,000 will be the income, that is rent received in advance. It will be adjusted in final accounts by recording the entry rent account debit to rent received in advance. So incomes when received in advance become our liabilities. So unearned income is a liability for the firm. So any increase in liability is always credited. Next comes the depreciation. Now what is depreciation? Depreciation is the reduction in the value of assets due to normal wear and tear and expected obsolescence. With the uses of assets, the value of assets decreases every year. So this fall in the value of asset is called depreciation. This topic of depreciation we will discuss later on in a separate chapter. There is a separate chapter for this depreciation. We will discuss it later on. But for right now, for depreciation, the entry is depreciation account debit to fixed asset. For example, if it is a building, so depreciation account debit to building account. If it is a machinery, depreciation account debit to machinery account. If it is a furniture, so depreciation account debit to furniture account. Now comes the opening entries. Every enterprise close their books of account at the end of every year. So in this process, nominal accounts are to be closed by transferring them to profit and loss account. So the balances of personal and real accounts under traditional approach and asset, liability or capital account under modern approach for classification are carried forward to the next year. These balances become the opening balances of the next year. The first journal entry in the journal is passed to record the closing balance of previous year. It is called the opening entry. I repeat, to record the closing balance of previous year, we will pass a journal entry which is called opening entry. The balance sheet prepared at the end of the year shows the closing balances of each asset and liability and forms the basis for this opening entry. While passing an opening entry, all assets are to be debited individually, whereas capital and liabilities are individually credited. If capital is not given in the question, then it is calculated by applying the formula which we have learned in the chapter accounting question. We have learned there asset is equal to liabilities plus capital. Now we have to find out capital, so we will deduct liabilities from the total assets. Assets minus liabilities is equals to capital. Let us take an example. So this is the balance sheet of an enterprise. You can see here on the liability side, creditors 56,000, capital is given, already given 2 lakh rupees. On the asset side, cash in hand, cash at bank, sundry debtors, closing stock, machinery, all these given with their respective amounts, and total of both the side is 2,56,000. Now this is the closing balance. These are the closing balances of last year. Now we will record a opening entry in the journal of the next accounting year. That is, the next accounting year will start from 1st April 2019. This is the journal for 1st April 2019, and this is the first journal entry which we have to record. All the assets individually debited. Cash account debit 4,300, bank account debit 26,750, sundry debtors account debited 74,950, stock account debited 90,000, machinery and equipment account debit 60,000, two sundry creditors 56,000. Here capital is given 2 lakh rupees. So we will write here 2 capital 2 lakh rupees. But if capital is not given in the question, we will summarize the balances of all the assets. Cash plus bank plus debtor plus stock plus machinery. So it will comes to 2,56,000. And out of 2,56,000, when we will deduct the 56,000 as creditors, we will get our capital, that is rupees 2 lakh rupees. So there is a narration which explains the recording of the entry, that is being the balances of assets, liabilities and capital brought forward. It means the carried forward of last year is brought forward here. Closing balance of last year is recorded as an opening balances. Let us take one more example. That is, on 1st April, the position of Messrs. Lala Chunilal, M/S dot stands for Messrs. It is the prefix to be applied before the name of any firm, whether it is proprietorship, sole proprietorship or partnership firm. So Messrs. Lala Chunilal and Sons, this is Sons, abbreviation of Sons, SO dot, Delhi. As cash in hand, we have 6,000, cash at bank 25,600, stock of goods 9,000, machinery 45,000, furniture 18,000, Ajay, which is a debtor to whom goods were sold on credit, 20,500, same as Ajay. Dheeraj is also a debtor, 26,000, and we have a loan of rupees 50,000. When there is no information that it is loan given or taken, that is given, a loan is taken from the bank or any financial institution, it is a liability. Amrit, it is clearly mentioned that Amrit is a creditor, 6,700. Now students, see here that balance of capital is not given. Now we will recording the opening entry in the beginning of next year, 1st April 2019. We will record all the assets individually in the debit side. Cash account debit 6,000, bank account debit 25,600, stock account debit 9,000, machinery account debit 45,000, furniture account debit 18,000, Ajay account debit 20,500, Dheeraj account debit 26,000. All the assets debited here. To loan which is given 50,000 and to Amrit 6,700 it is given. Now the capital is not given. So we will summarize, we will add up all the assets and deduct loan and Amrit from the total of assets, and we will get the capital, that is 93,500. So this is the balancing figure of this these balances of the previous year. We have to find out the capital here. In this session, we have learned about few more journal entries using the traditional approach to rules of debit and credit. I hope this will help you to understand the concept of the topic more easily. Now students, try to understand the basic concepts of this chapter once again and try to solve some illustrations as well as unsolved questions from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping by T.S. Grewal. You can also try to solve some questions from NCERT, but all the questions to be done in your homework notebook. In the next session, we will continue our next topic. Till then, dear students, to stop the COVID-19, stay home. If you don't think about yourself, think about your loved ones. So stay home please, but study regularly.